Hello and thank you for joining us on the last edition of Journalist Hangout this week. I am Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program. Nnamdi Kanu rejects life imprisonment sentence over terrorism charges, set to appeal verdict as his family mates agrees with him that judgment was predetermined, with House of Reps Deputy Speaker Kalu saying all hope is not lost for IPOB leader. And later on the show, redesignation of Nigeria as country of particular concern over alleged Christian genocide divides U.S. Congress at House Subcommittee on Africa hearing. Well, I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju, who joins us from Abuja studios, and Tunde Abaton. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now, let's begin the conversation. We start with Nnamdi Kanu rejecting the sentence to life imprisonment. He's set to now appeal the verdict as his family meets. Now, they agreed that his judgment was, in fact, predetermined. Even the House of Reps Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu saying that all hope is not lost for the IPOB leader. But let's start this conversation this way. Nnamdi Kanu has rejected this, but on what grounds do you think he may be challenging the verdict?
Well, first of all, let us look at the whole scenario. After the prosecution witness has tendered all their findings, all their cases, after they have cross-examined him and do everything, the judge is now, the onus now rests on the defense to put off a defense. He refused. At the end of the day, he fired all his lawyers. The judge gave him about three different occasions, asking him to defend himself. Because when an accusation is made against you and you refuse to defend yourself, which means you have agreed to all those things. And maybe the judge, after trying all possible avenues to make sure that he defends himself, then he now said that, which means you are going to accept the verdict that we are going to pass on you, because the window for you to defend yourself has been closed. So what I think is that, people made a lot of mistakes. When you go to the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, they are only going to examine the conditions upon which the judge convicted you in the first instance. So they will, it's not an opportunity to start the trial all over again. I think he aborted his own trial midway by refusing to state his own case. Okay. So he has every right to appeal up to the Supreme Court. At least the Supreme Court is the only place that you can go to. That will be the end. But I think that on the case of it now, he cannot claim that he was not given any opportunity to defend himself. So I don't really know why people are talking, because people will have urged him to say, defend yourself. Until you defend yourself, defending yourself can even make the judge, assuming that you are guilty on all the 7 counts, because all the 7 count charges, they read it yesterday, the judge was so painstaking to state the preamble to that thing and each of the case and no defense. So I think he has every right to appeal, like I said, to the Court of Appeal. After the Court of Appeal, he can go to the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the land. And it's not the first time they are trying people for treasonable in Nigeria. Others have been jailed before. So I think he has every right to appeal to anywhere, but the Supreme Court is the final decision.
It's the final decision. All right, let's move straight to Abuja studios, where BK is waiting. I mean, BK, he has rejected his life imprisonment sentence on terrorism charges, just like what I asked Tunde Abaton. On what grounds do you think he may be challenging this verdict?
Well, all along, he did not believe that the court had jurisdiction to entertain the matter in the first place. All along, we believed that the judge was wasting his time and that there is no law on which his trial can stand. He's always said that you cannot try me on a repealed law. And that was why he kept saying that the judge does not know law, that the country has laws that the judges don't obey. The country has a Supreme Court that it refuses to take its judgment seriously. So you can see he believes that the trial was flawed in the first place, that there was no basis to try him. Up till his sentencing, Nnamdi Kanu, even IPOB, the group that he instituted, they never believed that any Nigerian court has jurisdiction to try him. According to him, the offense that he committed was not even committed in Nigeria. He made that point clear. So he believes that everything rests on jurisdiction, and that on the basis of jurisdiction, the court shouldn't have even entertained his case. Beyond the matter of jurisdiction that he talked about not once, not twice, which he raised even before the former judge that was handling the matter, that's Justice Bintamrita Yako. Yes, he also believed that you cannot try a man based on a law that you had repealed. So, and he kept saying that there is no law upon which it can be put on trial. So somebody who does not believe that the judge has jurisdiction to entertain his case, who believes that, yes, the offense that he committed was not committed in Nigeria, and therefore no court has jurisdiction to try him. So you shouldn't be surprised that he has elected to appeal the judgment. So this is where we are on this matter. But in line with the decision of the judge that it should be kept in a safe confinement in the custodial center, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, posted today that he has been moved to Sokoto maximum prisons, far away from his lawyers, far away from his family. That is what Nnamdi Ejimako confirmed this evening to everyone who is monitoring the case. So,
okay. Okay, now
to see the matter filed properly. I mean, the appeal filed properly. What you talked about on what you asked.
Like on what grounds?
My colleague, on what grounds?
Like you may be
it's difficult. It's difficult. We don't want to preempt what the superior court will say, because the court of first instance has already sentenced him to life in prison. And even that sentencing, there are many lawyers who believe that the sentencing was not based on what the law stipulates. As far as they are concerned, the law stipulates death penalty in this case. But the judge cited Matthew 23, and my friends who are lawyers have told me that it is well within the rights and powers of a judge to cite the Holy Scriptures in his judgment. And Justice Omotosho, James Omotosho, cited Matthew 23, and believed that the right thing to do was to give him a life sentencing rather than sentence him to death as stipulated in the law that was used to try him.
Yes.
You know, so but some lawyers are arguing that in the upper courts that they may go ahead and follow
penalty?
the law. Yes, and they may impose death penalty because that's what the law says.
Okay.
What they do at the level of appeal is not to try a case from the beginning. What they do at the level of appeal and Supreme Court is to find out whether the lower court erred in law. And if the lower court erred in law because they are interested in justice and in seeing that justice is done, they have the power to overturn the decision of the lower court. We see that happen even in electoral tribunals, whereby the superior courts will then give a decision in contradistinction to the decision given at the lower tribunal. So some are saying, no, that the judges may even decide to impose the
death penalty.
The full weight of the law. But the judge, in giving him life sentence, said he was trying to conform with global trends, whereby death penalty is no longer popular. More and more countries are moving away from death penalty. But many countries too are sticking to it. If you take drugs and you are caught at the airport in Saudi Arabia, it ends in beheading. If you are caught in Malaysia, it ends in death penalty. If you are caught in Thailand, it ends in death penalty. So there are still many countries, even in China, there are still many countries that still practice, that still believe in the death penalty as a means of getting people of crimes.
Now, his family, they've said that they agreed that, they said that his judgment was predetermined. Now, his family members, they've also expressed solidarity with him, and they also support his decision to reject the verdict. But my question is, to what extent can this influence efforts to break this logjam?
Well, I think I don't necessarily believe there's a logjam, in the sense that, like I said before, when you are trying somebody for a particular offense, after the prosecution has called their witnesses and have laid bare their own case, the facts of the matter, it is now left for you to disagree and to prove that you are not guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But in a situation whereby you refused to even defend yourself, okay, upon what ground? Because that is not there. Upon what ground are you going to appeal? What are you going to cite as your reasons for not appealing? So one would have expected that that's why we have good family unity in Africa. One would have expected the family to have even prevailed on him and explained to him that, look, come and defend yourself. You can see the judge was even so lenient, like Jide said, was even so lenient by not applying the full weight of the law. Because somebody, when you are accused of doing something, you refused to defend yourself, because that is key. He will have given his lawyers the opportunity to puncture all the cases against him, all the second points against him. If they give him that particular opportunity, perhaps the even sentence could have been reduced to even 10 years or even 15 years. But in a situation whereby you refuse to enter defense, so upon what ground are you going to ask the Court of Appeal? Like he said, when you go to the Court of Appeal, you don't go there and start the case afresh. You will stop. They will start from where the first Court of First Jurisdiction has ended. They will examine the cases of the stand or the ground on which the judge.
Now, looking at the trial,
yes,
4 judges have handled this case. Talk about Justice Ahmed Mohamed, Justice John Soho, Justice Binta Nyako, and Justice Omotosho, who gave the final judgment. But in your opinion, was Nnamdi Kanu given a fair trial?
Well, I think having gone through all these processes in the last 6 years, you see, when you refuse to enter, I keep on saying that thing. When you refuse to enter the verse, you could see that in the last 2 weeks, the trial judge gave him 3 opportunities. In the first instance, he sacked all his lawyers, people that are going to appeal. And secondly, you can remember the judge said that he was unruly, arrogant. When somebody holds the determination of your life, he holds the pen, you cannot be unruly before him. Without being sentimental, the point of law is that you state your own case when you are accused of doing something.
Yeah.
When police come to your house, they will tell you that you should not say anything until you see your lawyer. But in this case, you refuse to enter defense. Whether it is true or not, proof beyond all reasonable doubt.
So you think he shot himself in the foot?
But he shot himself in the foot by refusing to even defend himself. When you don't defend yourself, what do you, on what point, or at what particular point will the Court of Appeal begin to, because they won't go ask him to start trial all over again or to start calling witness. Does it mean that you have changed your mind after judgment has been passed on you? You now say you want to start your case all over again. Because really, I don't really know, except you see lawyers that will enlighten us.
All right, the other part of this conversation, I mean, BKO, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Benjamin Kalu, he said that all hope is not lost. How do you interpret this remark in the context of the current situation?
Well, it's been, people look up to political leaders from the Southeast to weigh in on this matter and see how they can secure Nnamdi Kanu's release. Remember, even during the Buhari regime, First Republic Minister of Aviation, Mbazulike Amechi, appealed to President Buhari to release Nnamdi Kanu to him. And he promised that if Nnamdi Kanu was released to him, he would be able to manage him properly, and he would listen to him, he would give up violence, he would do exactly what he demands of him. Bianca Ono, the widow of the late Kemba, has also been talking about the need for a resolution of this matter politically. People keep asking them questions. People want to know what steps they are taking. We want to know whether it is possible for engagement to happen that will lead to the release of Nnamdi Kanu, because many people believe that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, it will lead to an improvement in the security situation in the Southeast. They point to the fact that those who are killing people on Mondays in the name of sit at home, those who are attacking security operatives, derived their legitimacy or otherwise from Nnamdi Kanu, who instituted the whose group, IPOB, instituted the Monday sit at home in the first place. Now they believe that if those people are carrying out those activities in his name, once it's released, that will stop immediately. And Nnamdi Kanu himself said it in court that once it's released, nobody in the Southeast will be able to go around to say that he's doing sit at home or that he's killing people. We said no criminal will be able to look me in the eyes in the Southeast. So there are a lot of these political leaders are pushing for his release, and I'm not surprised that Bianca Ono, who is a minister in this cabinet, also said, let's have mutual coexistence of Ndigbo in Nigeria. Let's have justice, equity, and dignity. I'll continue to engage on this matter. She said she has continued to engage on this matter, and she's confident that this matter can be resolved politically. Benjamin Kalu also assured that political solution was underway to free Nnamdi Kanu. According to Honorable Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, now that the matter has been determined in court, they can now face the political solution squarely. According to him, the fact that the matter was in court was the obstacle he got in the way of an amicable resolution. But he's confident that the president will listen to pleas of well-meaning Igbo leaders who had been trying to engage him on the matter. So it makes sense what Benjamin Kalu is saying. At least it will energize people, to calm people down. He's trying to say, look, it's time for us to explore a political solution, and the president is not averse to it. He said the president is not averse to it, and he said we are going to get it. All hope is not lost. So that's Nnamdi Kanu, Benjamin Kalu, saying that they are confident that the president would listen to them and release Nnamdi Kanu. This is what a lot of people want to hear. They want to hear that political solution is being explored. But as I've said in the past, a lot rests on the shoulder of Nnamdi Kanu himself. Nobody would want to free him without a set of conditions. Is he willing to abide by those conditions? I believe that he could be ready to abide by some conditions, because during his court outbursts many months ago, he said that he was ready, and he directed his lawyers to also reach out to the prosecution with a view to securing an out-of-court settlement. But the prosecution, the lawyers to the prosecution, the man heading the prosecution team, Awomolo Sam, said he did not have the mandate of his of the person who engaged him, that is the Minister of Justice, to engage with the Kanu team on the possibility of an out-of-court settlement. So that was told it at that time. And but as Benjamin Kalu said, it is still possible to achieve a political solution. It all depends. If Kanu will give up his armed struggle against the Nigerian state, if he will abide by conditions that they are going to set, they can actually have a look at the possibility and make it happen. But if he's demanding for an unconditional release, if his supporters are pushing for an unconditional release, I don't think that they are going to go far. There has to be conditions, attached to any sort of freedom for Nnamdi Kanu. Okay,
how do you weigh in here the possibility of a political solution?
Well, like you said, it takes two to tango. All wars that have been fought in the world, First World War, Second World War, always end up on the negotiating table. We can negotiate with the table. But like you said, something that's very crucial, and that is, it depends on the person that is being accused. He has been convicted already. We have to get that one straight. You cannot throw away what the judge has done because it has a precedence. Something led to it. But one thing that is very, very clear is that he has to show remorse that he's not going to toe that part again. He also has to convince the authorities, those who are pushing for a political solution, that he's going to abide by it and that he's going to publicly, not privately, renounce violence. Because when you look at it, because I'm more concerned about what has happened to the life of an ordinary person that has been affected by his pronouncements in the Southeast. People cannot go to work on Monday. A lot of people have been killed. A lot of young people have had their life. So if he can do that thing, that, like he said, you cannot have your freedom without necessarily trading certain things. So far you have been found guilty. So he also has to surrender certain things that are crucial to the peaceful resolution of that thing. If he's ready to do that and he has done that, I think the government will be more than convinced to release him. But that condition has to be adhered to.
Now with this judgment, are you hopeful, or let me use the word confident, that the sit-at-home and it will bring an end, this judgment will bring an end to the sit-at-home in the Southeast?
Well, actually, ordinarily, when you look at it from the fact that the person at the center of that thing has been jailed, there's no point for you to continue that thing. Except, of course, you are saying that without him being free, the whole of Southeast will not be free. Because if the sit-at-home continues, it means the whole of Southeast is in bondage, is in one price of the other. So I think the people have to sit down and analyze this thing. More so for the fact that, like I keep on saying, the man refused to defend himself. It's very, very crucial to this thing. If he had defended himself, I'm very, very sure the judge may not arrive
at that verdict.
So it's very, very crucial. It's very, very crucial.
I mean, BKO, just to round off this conversation, the impact of the judgment in the interest of public peace, how should this matter be managed? BKO, can you hear me?
Move it up a bit.
Okay, I said that the impact of this judgment, in rounding off this conversation, the impact of this judgment in the interest of public peace, how should this matter be handled?
When you look at the number of people who died in the last few years based on the activities of IPOB that Nnamdi Kanu belonged to, you would want to say justice must come their way. And if justice must come their way, then the man who instituted IPOB in the first place has to pay for the number of deaths recorded and the number of buildings destroyed and all that. But at the same time, many issues like this are sometimes decided by extra legal matters, resolved out of court. So it all depends on what the government wants. It was government that took him to court, and if the government is convinced that an out-of-court settlement on this matter is desirable in the interest of peace and to put closure to the crisis, it is within their rights, within the right of government to do that. But if the government feels that Kanu has not demonstrated sobriety, if the government feels Kanu is extremely arrogant even in the way he's conducting himself, I don't think government will want him out of the slammer, because and some of what we have seen in the last few days of the trial, Kanu beating his own lawyer, abusing people, does not suggest a man, does not suggest to people that he is sober or that he regrets some of his actions. So his actions, they say, in this kind of situation, his body language is key to even determining what government does with him. I don't think he has helped himself in any way by the tantrums that he demonstrated in open court. I don't think, even the security people were begging, when the judge gave an order that they should take his mic, they were begging him. I mean, such unruly conduct does not advertise him as somebody who regrets his actions and who is interested in pursuing a peaceful resolution of the matter. I believe that his actions have worsened matters.
All right, BK, we need to go on this.